a lot of retirees come to me, and they've coming over the years, everything's going well, and then they come and say, I got this big expense that I didn't expect. A big one-time thing. It's only going to be a one-time thing. Um, it's usually a surprise. And I want to talk about that today because it can be tough to handle. How do you plan for the unexpected? Or more importantly, how do you allocate your funds and how do you pull from your retirement without destroying it when you have a big expense that comes out of the blue or maybe not so much out of the blue? Speaking of out of the blue, let's pull Tony. Tony, welcome to the show. Out of the blue, you come with your blue shirt on.
Yeah.
Matt, we got the memo. I'm wearing blue as well. So we over the years, I've been seeing a trend, and I want to talk about people that get hit with these big expenses. They come to me and say, "Hey, I need to pay for X. And what do I do?" And it kind of puts their plans into turmoil if we hadn't planned for it in advance. And I want to give you some specific examples of some things that I've been dealing with lately with clients and see if you think that what's your take on these? So we have the new car. I want a new car. A new
Doesn't
pet.
everyone?
Yeah. A new pet they get or a vet bill to care for that pet. That's one that's, man, it can get up there. I have a few veterinarian clients, so I'm not throwing them under the bus, but man, it seems that taking care of an aging pet can be quite expensive.
It's outrageous. It's actually gotten very expensive. I mean, pets are expensive, and the sad part of it is they only live for so long. I mean, you've got a large dog who's going to live maybe 10 years, and you're putting thousands and thousands of dollars into it. It's interesting.
And it's tough to say don't do it, right? So it's something all right,
It's a member of the
we're gonna
family.
adjust.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Right. Dental work, that's a biggie. We've done shows on that in the past. Do you get insurance? Or probably not. Medicare doesn't cover dental. You don't need your teeth to live a healthy life,
Right.
apparently.
I mean, my goodness, let's say and this is just a hypothetical, Dan. Let's say you had a huge gap between your front two teeth. I mean, how much would something like that cost to fix? I mean,
I don't know. I think it adds character. What me worry, they used to say. Um, you know, I got my nice off-white bone pearl
yeah,
cream beige teeth. Yeah, but I got 3 kids with braces, so don't talk to me about that.
oh man,
A home repair or a home remodel, but a lot of times lately it's been, "Hey, my house flooded from the hurricane," or, "My roof caved in and I gotta redo this section of the house." Retaining walls are big if you're on a lake or a river or ocean. Um, Weddings, I've had a lot of people come to me and say, "I wanna pay for a wedding for a granddaughter or a daughter that they didn't think about while they were in retirement, before retirement." So what do you do? Like, what do I say? Let's delve into the conversation. Most people, though, handle this before retiring.
right?
So you'll see the neighbor doing the landscaping or putting up, a new roof, and you're like, "Oh, are they selling?" But if you see them remodeling the kitchen or doing other work and you don't think they're moving, you're like, "They're retiring. They're getting
Yeah,
ready to retire."
right,
Right?
right,
A lot of people do that. They get the big stuff done while they're working because they feel confident in their ability to generate the income needed to pay for it. So
right.
that's one way people do. They delay retirement to get these things taken care of. A lot of people will delay retirement until their mortgage is paid off, so they don't have that mortgage expense. I don't believe that this is a good thing because I don't like delaying retirement. I prefer you retire and figure it out. Retire while you're young and can enjoy it, but not a bad strategy. So I'm going to go 3 different strategies that, in no particular order, that people can use to pay for big expenses.
Sure, but before you do that, Dan, just to clarify for our listeners and viewers, and for myself, I mean, the real problem you're going to get at here is taking money from retirement funds to pay for these things, right?
Yes.
There's different problems though if we're talking about people who are already retired versus people who are still working, because people who are still working who need that money to pay for a wedding, and they come to you, they're saying, Dan, I want to take $25,000 out of my 401k or IRA, a retirement account, to pay for this wedding. That has a whole set of problems. There's many reasons you don't
Yeah.
want to take from your retirement accounts, because there are penalties, the taxes, because you're going to
Yeah.
lose so much money, right?
Yeah. And I put in quotes one time or surprise, because a lot of these things you can plan for and you should.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I'm talking about retirees. So they're not working anymore. And
Okay.
then they get this expense. What do you do? How do you handle it? Because there's a lot of implications. You're right. So let's start with three. I'll give you three different strategies, and then we can debate which one you like the best. Um, Strategy A: you add the big ticket items in your original plan and your model. So you say, okay, I'm going to need a new car in the next 10 years or something like that. Maybe 5 years from now, I'm going to get a new car. So the kind of car I would want to get is currently $50,000. So you put that in now, and then inflation will show what that is in 5 years. And when you're building your income plan and looking at it, it's all built in. So you know where it's going to be, that you have planned for that expense, and then you appropriately allocate appropriate buckets of liquidity. There's a new term I just made up. Buckets of liquidity.
Yeah. In
What is
other
a
words, you
bucket
don't
of
want that
liquidity?
money in something that you'll have to pay a fee or a penalty or high
Right,
taxes on. You're
right.
going to need that money that year fully accessible without taking huge losses if you can, right? That's what you're
That's
saying.
right. Yeah. So
Let's say you have a couple. I bet you've had a couple. Hey, the first 2 years of retirement, we want to travel the world, or
yes,
we're going to take
yeah,
5 different cruises our first 5 years, or we're going to buy $100,000 RV. That
right.
has to, you got to plan for that ahead of time, right?
Absolutely. And you do. So and then you take that money and you put it in the bucket of liquidity so that it's available
The
for you
bucket of
in some.
liquidity. We're going to trademark Wendell, Dolphin Financial,
Yeah.
2025.
You just see someone carrying a bucket. What's in there? Liquidity? What?
It's full of water.
Liquid? No, liquidity. Anyway, so so you plan for it in advance, and then but people like, Dan, the show's about surprise expense. Well, I don't know if it's surprise, but what you can say is, in 5 years, I'm probably going to have something go wrong. I'm going to need $40,000 for something. Well, what is it? I don't know. Let's put money aside for it now, and if it doesn't happen, then we're happy. So that's strategy A, is to put it in. Now, if you have a new expense that just came out of the blue, true surprise, what I would recommend you do, because you got to worry about taking money from the retirement and reducing your future income, because now you're not going to have that money to grow and get interest from. So it could damage you going forward if you take. It's like sequence of return risk. If you have down years in the beginning, you're running a risk. So this strategy, you plan for them in advance, or you redo your software, taking out the expense at that point, and see what happens before you actually go and agree and sign an agreement to renovate the kitchen. Figure out, will it destroy my retirement beforehand? So that's strategy A, but that requires some pre-planning. Strategy B, Tony,
Okay.
you build excess into your baseline income, knowing that the unexpected expenses are going to come up anyway. So in the beginning, when you're planning your retirement, you might say, I need $7,000 a month. But you're budgeting 8,000 a month. Well, I don't need
Mhm.
that extra eight. I don't need that extra $1,000 a month. That's 12,000 a year. But you take it in the budget anyway, knowing that maybe you're going to have on average a $10,000 unexpected expense every year.
So it's
So
like an emergency fund within your retirement plan.
yes. In addition to having the emergency fund, this would be the emergency replenishment fund. So you
So
can still
that's
have it invested,
that makes sense.
right? So the emergency fund gets wiped out because of the hurricane. And then you're like, well, now what? What if I have another emergency in the next 6 months? You would take this building up of cash that you have and sweep it into the emergency fund and pull it out of the market or whatever. So you budget for it in advance, saving extra cash flow. Because I would argue that most expenses that people say are surprises are not. Tony, you might have a couple of weddings to put money toward, right?
I will.
When is that going to happen? You don't know.
I don't know.
And when it does happen, is it going to be a surprise? Oh my God, my daughter got married. I never thought she would. Who's the crazy guy that fell for that?
How did you know I said that? How do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, I do know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, right? I mean, it'll probably happen.
So you can plan your retirement and say, strategy A, okay, I need X dollars for the wedding in this range of years.
Right.
Strategy B is, let's put a little bit more in the budget for my retirement every year, knowing that at some point there's going to be that wedding and I can use it for there or some other expense that comes up.
Yep.
That's the second strategy.
I like strategy B the best.
Okay. All right. Is it because I invoked thoughts of your daughters getting married and leaving the nest?
Me needing money set aside for my daughter. I have 2 daughters, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that tradition of the daughter's family pays is valid anymore.
Everybody
I hope it is. I got
you know
3
what?
boys.
You know what? Everybody tells me that, but I see and hear differently often. So that's the problem.
I'm with you. I think the daughter should pay. I think the wife's family should
no,
pay.
I don't think the daughter should pay at all.
I do. I think
it's whatever family has a higher net worth should pay, and that's why I tell my daughters to marry rich.
Well, I got 3 boys. We'll see. I don't know. So strategy C is to scrape off the extra growth every year or whenever when markets do well and use that
like 23 and 24 where we're up like 20 plus % each year.
Right. Because I don't imagine, well, if your financial planner is projecting a 15% return every year, that's crazy to me. My style is to project lower returns than on average and happily upside surprise. So what you do
don't want to count on timing the market though.
Well, see, that's the downside to this. So you can say, well, when we have good years, hey, we made an extra $20,000 this year than we expected for our budget. You could just sweep that money aside into the emergency fund or some sort of low risk fund for the unexpected expenses.
Right.
Or, you could be, hey, we're going to do the kitchen remodel. The market didn't do so well this year. Let's skip it. Or, hey, the market's done tremendous. Let's do that thing we were talking about doing.
Makes sense.
Right. So and I think this is kind of what most people do, because that's what they do when you're living before retirement. Is like, well, can we afford it? I don't know. What do we got?
I've heard a lot of other advisors that use this method or pitch this method.
Yeah.
Or I've heard some anyway.
And this is just, we've done an entire show on rebalancing, the bucket strategies. There's that bucket again. And how, you got to rebalance. If you're doing well, you want to make sure you're not going overly risky. But if you're not doing well, you might have to add more to the risk. That's a tough strategy to do, though. This is a tough one because it requires constant monitoring. And what if you don't have some good years and you have an emergency? Then you're in trouble, right?
Yep.
So, this works when it does. It's the greatest thing. But what if it doesn't? What if you don't have a good year to take that extra, or you just don't want, you want to make sure you're not spending everything you make always,
Right.
But so those are the strategies. Now, you brought up something that I don't want people to forget, which I'm glad you did, and that's taxes. Don't forget about taxes,
Yep.
because like you said, if you're pulling from an IRA to pay for your daughter's wedding, it's very nice of you, Tony, but did you factor in you're pulling 25,000 out? You owe Uncle Sam probably at least 12%, maybe 22% taxes on that withdrawal. Did you factor that in? Or are you
Yeah.
just going to get the surprise tax bill
If it was a
in
tax deferred
April?
account, which most IRAs and 401ks and retirement funds are tax deferred, TSPs, 403bs. So then when you pull the money out, it's fully taxable. Plus, in retirement, that could put you into a higher tax bracket or affect other funding, which you've talked about on shows, which I've learned from you, like your Medicare Part B premium could go up.
Yes.
Your Social
Yes.
Security could be taxed at a higher
Right.
rate, or a higher portion of your Social Security might be
Right.
taxed. So that's something you really do need to look at.
Yeah. And so if you're planning to renovate the kitchen for 100,000
Right.
and the bathroom, whatever, and you're like, oh, I'll just pull that from the IRA and I'll have the taxes. Well, I'll take more because
Sure.
what about now? All of a sudden, your Medicare premium goes up because they're using your income and they consider that a gain or whatever. It's just like, oh wow, I didn't realize that everything had to move. Oh, now all of a sudden your Social Security is taxable. Oh, well, that's not fun. Well, a new kitchen's nice though. They can be
True. You got to
nice, right?
weigh these things, and that's why, Dan, you just illustrated why you don't do this on your own. You've got to work with a trusted financial services professional like yourself, somebody who's going to look at the big picture and say, okay, if you do this, it's going to impact this and this and this. Let's do the calculation and see what this is really going to cost you. And that's why I want to go back to your great term you came up with, and you've got an illustration there. Why don't you throw up that illustration really quick? The liquidity
Oh,
bucket. The liquidity bucket. We've got an illustration for the liquidity bucket. Now, this is a different type of liquidity bucket. This is
I like
when
it.
you said liquidity bucket, this is the image that appeared in my mind. Is that
You know
wrong? A
what,
bucket
Tony?
of beer and ice?
Oh yeah, I don't know about that Corona. What is that, Mexican? I like the what is in there? I don't know. I'm a
Well,
Belgian
the labels have been
type fan.
fuzzed
Then
off
yeah,
because we don't.
yes, you
Yeah.
don't need any trouble, Tony. I think we're allowed to show, and for the listeners, they're like, "What are you looking at?" It's a bucket of beer with ice in it. We're allowed to show that, but we just can't drink it on podcast. I don't know. Maybe we can.
Sure, we could.
Well,
Are
let's
you kidding?
let's.
Have you ever seen the Match game show from the 70s? They were drinking and smoking the entire time on
Oh
television.
God.
The
Right.
70s were a different time, though. But seriously, the liquidity. I always get a kick out of people who think, anything I have in the stock market is fully liquid. Is it in an IRA? Well, yeah. Okay. Maybe not, because to me, it's not fully liquid. Is I can take it out and it's not going to cost me anything. To me, that's
Well,
liquid.
right.
And if
And
you
yeah,
take
you're
money
right.
out of the market, you're going to get opportunity loss. You're going to lose compounding interest, and you're going to have to pay taxes on it. So, right?
Yeah. And most people will forget about taxes, and the accountant will say, "Here's your tax bill," and then they'll be like, "Why do I owe so much?" And well, because you did that, and then it's after the fact, and the
Sure.
accountant's not going to be. They're just doing the numbers, and you can't blame them. Or can you? You should be working with a tax planning. Whoever you're doing financial advising with should be tax planning as well, so that you don't. So when you do take that out, oh yeah, you could pay for the wedding, and we could take the. But don't forget about the taxes. I see. My mom has passed away, but she sits on my shoulder all the time and always is like, "Don't forget the taxes." That's all she ever chirps at me.
She
You
worked for
know?
the IRS, right?
Yeah, yeah. So again, taxes, and then the other thing that people forget about
Mm-hmm.
is home equity. That can be a source of cash
Ah,
flow in a surprise emergency,
that's
especially
a
if you're
good one.
remodeling the house.
Yeah,
If you're remodeling the house and you're like, "Oh, I got to take 100,000 from my IRA," why not get a home equity line of credit? Maybe, and you got to do the math. But
yeah.
don't forget that your house isn't sacred. You could use the equity in there, which a lot of
Oh,
people
sure.
have,
Yeah.
for long-term care expenses, for a home remodel, to put wheelchair access or whatever. You don't have to just raid your IRA all the time. People, for whatever reason, forget that the equity in the home can be used in a pinch, or can be strategically used throughout.
Yeah.
You can do a downside. There's a lot. We've done shows on using home equity. People forget it. They just forget that. So, and the last thing I want people to remember is that you want to do the spending on the stuff that you've always wanted to do while you're young and healthy. You don't want to wait. I forget what song it's from, but there's a quote that says, "Don't waste time, or time will waste you."
Oh, I love that
Um,
line. What is that from? That's great.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, I'll think of it. It's like a hardcore band, not hardcore, but it's not a song.
Right.
Um,
It's
I'll
not
think of
yacht
it. Maybe
rock.
no. So again, you want to make these surprise expenses. You want to handle them, but you don't want to not do stuff because you're afraid. You do it while you're young, and you'll deal with the consequences, but plan for them. I don't like to see people forego things that they've always wanted to do, and then time slips away, and then it's too
Sure.
late. So there's a
Yeah.
balance between just running in there crazy and never doing anything. You want to kind of find that
Yeah.
balance.
But that quote is actually from the band Muse, one of our favorites. I love
Yes,
that one, and I
Muse,
know you love
Muse,
Muse. Yeah, they're
right.
great.
That
Yeah.
that one song that they have it in
Knights
is
of Sidonia.
Knights of Sidonia. They it's a Western theme, a
Yes.
futuristic Western, space Western type thing. I love it because I like spaghetti
Yeah.
Western, so
Yeah.
it's modeled up of that.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, that's a good call, Tony. What do you got?
Oh,
Chat GPT up there?
yeah, no,
Oh,
I looked. I Googled it. I
I'm
Googled it.
glad I'm glad that you are a music audiophile, because that would have bothered me. And now I feel
It
like we
was
have some
bothering me
closure.
instantly. It bothered me because I knew the line in the song, and I'm like, "Who does that?" I had to,
Yes.
but I'm admitting, it didn't come to me. I had to Google it, but yeah.
Don't waste your time, or time will waste you. Okay, so speaking of I feel like I can end the show now that you've helped me get that off my chest. Um, Conclusion: big ticket items are difficult in retirement, no doubt about it. The retaining wall collapse. We got to fix it. You know, it's tough, and there's so many moving pieces. There's taxes, there's income planning, there's the stock market movements. Timing is everything. So you having a plan is critical to it, and the plan's going to help you prevent future collapse. Destroying what you got, but it's also going to prevent paralysis due to fear.
Yeah.
Right? If
Paralysis of analysis, right?
Yes, and it's usually they do nothing. And I say they, meaning people that have this emergency, they don't know what to do. So they sometimes do nothing and let the disrepair go, or they forego going on the trip, or paying for their granddaughter's college or new business because they're afraid. Yet if they did some analysis, they'd say, oh, it's not that scary. But if they just give it to their granddaughter to run the business and it's gone, that's also not a good idea. So doing the planning and handling these big ticket items is critical, because it'll prevent you from doing nothing or doing something rash. At least you have a plan. So that's the way I'm going to tackle it. Which strategy do I like the best? Tony, can you believe it? I like the same one you do. I like building excess into the baseline,
Yep.
and I do it for everybody that
Yep.
I have as clients. And they're always like, that seems high. And I say, just you wait. Just you wait. Because when the emergency happens, and then you're not going to say that seems too high anymore. You're going to say, Dan, what a great idea. That was great. Thank you. And it's just from experience. It's just from experience in doing it. But the other
Yeah.
strategies aren't bad. This is the one I like to use. It
Or
makes
you
life a
could
little
use
easier.
a combo platter. I mean, the
Yes.
first two,
Oh, there it is.
I like the first
You got to
two.
bring the combo platter in.
Yeah.
Bankroll and everything.
The combo platter. Yeah, I like a mix of the first two, but if I had to pick one for sure, it's the strategy B. I think you got a great point there.
Yeah.
I think this is a good show. This is something that people don't stop and think about.
No, they don't. Well, until it happens. But
Oh yeah,
it's going to happen though.
yeah,
We know
yeah,
everyone's going to fall into this
yeah.
category at some point. They'll be like, "Whoa, I didn't expect that expense.
Yeah.
So we know that's going to happen. Why not just plan for that? You don't know what it's going to be,
Yeah.
whether it's a wedding or bail money for your daughter, like your youngest, like
Bail.
which
Yeah.
something's going to happen.
We're not gonna name names. Your youngest. I like you added that. That's great.
I was talking about my youngest.
Too close. Too soon. No.
Speaking of my youngest, I'm going to bring them in to do the outro. Tony, thanks for another good show, and we'll catch everyone next week.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only.
This show is not investment advice.
Dan Riddle nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency.
Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida.
Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc.
Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group.
You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.